Welcome back to another video, boys. Today I have a Juneteenth special for you guys, and we are going to be going over a PowerPoint. Yeah, I need you to take this bowl out. I need you to take this bowl out. Thank you.
Okay, that didn't go as smoothly as I thought it was gonna go, but welcome back to another video, guys. I know I've been AWOL for a little while, but momentarily I am back, and tonight I'm gonna pay my reparations through creating a PowerPoint video for you guys. So today we're gonna be going over the fundamentals of PowerPoint. The mechanics, how to use it efficiently, how to be fast at it, how to manipulate various shapes, and ultimately how to create very crisp and very good-looking investment banking quality level slides. And so the way that this video is going to be structured is that I'm going to be teaching you guys various concepts that sort of layer on top of each other. And the structure of every slide is it's going to start with the concept, and then it's going to have an exercise at the bottom for you guys to sort of apply that concept onto. So I've included a download link for this presentation below for you guys to download and follow along. And I actually think that that's probably the best course of action for this video because it gives you an opportunity to follow along and to sort of apply the various different techniques and concepts that I'm teaching you guys to an actual PowerPoint in like an actual setting so you guys can sort of learn through repetition. So with that said, let's get started. So the first, sorry, my glasses are getting incredibly foggy because I'm like breathing through a do-rag and a mask at the same time. But anyways, we're gonna start off I'm gonna start off by showing you guys like a PowerPoint setup. So ultimately, your quick access toolbar, how to access your hotkeys fast and efficiently. The second one is going to be like the layout overview, basically this ribbon up here, and showing you guys what's important, what's not important, what to pay attention to when you're sort of going through your slide creation process. And afterwards, we're going to go over sort of like the basic mechanics and ultimately how to move and align various shapes and text boxes efficiently. So the thing I love about PowerPoint is that it's very similar to Excel, right? In the sense that you can use your keyboard hotkeys, right? It's like an onion, like you Alt, and then you can click into each one of your ribbon items here, right? So if you want to go to Home, you click H, and then you want to go to, let's say, Align, you click G, and then you just keep clicking buttons until you want to get to your desired action instead of using your mouse. But at the same time, PowerPoint is very different from Excel in the sense that you need to use your mouse to move objects and things quickly, right? Like for example, if you want to move this, right, you should probably use your mouse to move it around instead of using your arrow keys because it's just faster and more efficient that way. So I would say PowerPoint is somewhere around sort of like 65% you use your mouse and then 35% of you using your keyboard. But you guys need to use those things together in order to be fast and efficient at creating slides. So after sort of going over mechanics and movements, we're going to go into shape manipulation, a more complex topic. So how to color your shapes, how to size your shapes very quickly. And then with that, we're going to go into isometric shape creation, which is basically creating custom shapes that are not provided to you guys with PowerPoint. And a lot of the times in banking, you guys are going to need these custom shapes because let's say you guys want to create like a half circle or like a semicircle or like a circle with a sort of a portion of the circle that's cut out with a red underline to it that PowerPoint doesn't really give you, right? But you guys can sort of like create it in a world where you guys don't have like a graphics team or an India team or your graphics or India team is like overstaffed. So yeah, with that said, let's get started. So before the moment you guys hit your desk, what you guys are going to do is you guys are going to set up your quick access toolbar. And what that is that it's going to be this little toolbar above your ribbon right here where you can access it by clicking Alt. And then you can click a number and it'll hit each of these sort of actions that you want. And the reason why your quick access toolbar is there is to reduce the number of clicks that you want to access your desired actions. So basically, the most common sort of uses for your PowerPoint, like the most common actions that you're going to do, you're going to store them up in your quick access toolbar. So instead of clicking 5 buttons to get to one thing, you're going to click 2 buttons, or in this case, like if it's a line, you click like 3 buttons, right? And I know that it might not sound like a huge difference, but in a world where you're in PowerPoint for, let's say, 60 to 80 hours a week, and you're using Align probably 50% of the time out of all of the actions that you're using, it actually saves you a good amount of time, because every one of those seconds adds up, and then, before you know it, you save like 20 minutes throughout the day from just utilizing your quick access toolbar. So the way that we're going to start is we're going to go to File, you're going to click Options, and then you're going to go to your quick access toolbar. So mine is already set up, but I'm going to remove these so we could refine them together. We're going to keep save as Alt-1, right? So it's going to be 1, and then every subsequent item is going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the second one we're going to look for, first one we have is save. The second one we're going to look for is align object. So you're going to click once into, you're going to go to popular commands. You're going to go to all commands, load that up, and you're going to click once into here. And then you're going to type in each of these that you need instead of scrolling and looking for them alphabetically. So the first one we're looking for is align objects. So you're going to type in align objects right here. You can click add. Second one is send to back. So send to back. Add. Third one is crop. So this one's a little bit different because you have a lot of different crops here. Crop aspect ratio 1:1 is that these will automatically crop things for you, but you want more control over your crop, so it's going to be a general crop. So it's going to be crop picture. Add. And then the next one is going to be set transparent color. Add. So your quick access toolbar is going to be different, right? You have some analysts and associates that are going to set up 10 plus different alt items. From my experience, these are the 5 that I use the most, and I'm just going to say I'm always a proponent of keeping things very simple, right? So it's a lot of the times you could sort of just click 5 buttons and then access a few, but there's a few hard to get to things, particularly around send to back, crop, and set transparent color that I really want in my quick access, so I'm not clicking a bunch of buttons to get there. So these are the ones that I use, and feel free to stick to these when you hit desk, because I think that's all you need. And then the rest of them, you just learn the shortcuts and you just sort of learn through repetition, and then you develop the muscle memory and you get there. So you can click OK, and now your quick access is saved up here. So we're going to move into our first exercise, and this exercise, sorry, I'm having trouble seeing because this do-rag is just blocking. But the first exercise is going to be make the backgrounds for each of these logos transparent, right? So what you're seeing here is that you see that when we try to move, if your MD is okay, I want a blue box and I want you to move all of these logos into the blue box. The issue with these logos is that they all have a white background, right? So you're not going to submit them like this because this just looks haphazard. So what you're going to do is you're going to make the background transparent, right? So it keeps the logo. So the way that you're going to do that is you're going to click on a shape, click Alt-5, and then that's going to show you this little pen icon here, and that's going to let you set sort of transparent colors on the logos that you pull. So you're going to click this, click the white, whatever you want, transparent, and then it's basically going to make it transparent. And now you move into the box, and this exercise could be done, but there's another issue here, which is there's a lot of area and space within this image that you click, right? So you click 21, and you could make this a little bit tighter, so it's not sort of bumping into other logos. So it's when you have 15 logos on a small area of the page, ideally you want to size the outer outline closer to the logo, so you're not clicking and struggling to click on each logo. So we're going to use our Alt-4. So we click Alt-4, and we're going to crop it a little bit to get the shape that we want. MicroStrategy's crop check is already pretty good. So yeah, first exercise done. And then we're going to go to the next slide. This one is going to be layout overview, right? So here I'm going to teach you guys sort of this ribbon right here and what's important and what's not. So there's basically just 3 things that are important, right? Your home, your insert for your charts and your dates and your shapes and icons and stuff like that. And then there's your view, right? Which is going to bring you to your master slide, which is the back end where you sort of set up the background for your presentation, and new window for you to like pull up like a duplicate window for you to look at. But effectively, like these are the only three that you need to pay attention to. You can ignore everything else. And then there's also some additional ones that pop up as you click different elements on your slide. So when you click a picture, like let's say this Kindly MD logo, you click it, picture format pops up. And the only important thing here in picture format is this coloring thing. So it's like, let's say like you want to change the color of your Kindly MD logo to black and white. You just click this, right? And it sort of helps you change the color and the elements of the picture that you pull without being too disruptive. And then there's also shape format, and that's when you click on a shape, right? So let's click on this triangle right here, and there's your shape format. And the only thing you got to pay attention to, the only thing that's important in shape format are these two. It's edit shape, so if you want to like change the shape, or merge shapes, right? Which is you're combining two different shapes. We're going to go over that in part 5, right? But these two are the only ones that you care about here, because everything else can be accessed through your home. So yeah, let's move on to the first activity, which is basically change the triangle to a rectangle and just bring the Kindly MD logo into there. So the way you're going to do this is, here you're not going to use your mouse, right? You're going to click on the shape with your mouse, but you're going to use your keyboard to do the rest. So you're going to do Alt, and like we said before, you want to go to shape format. So JD, and then you're going to edit your shape, which is E right here, right? And then we want to change it into a rectangle. So you're going to like click, use your arrow key, click to the right, and then you're going to pick the rectangle that you want, or like this shape. But for here, we're going to go to rectangle. You're going to change it to a rectangle, and then you're going to move your Kindly MD logo into the rectangle, right? Oh, but the issue is that the rectangle was pasted after the Kindly MD logo, so the rectangle is actually in front here. So what you're going to do is you're going to utilize your quick access toolbar that we've set before, and you're going to send to back, which is Alt-3. So you're going to click the shape, you're going to click Alt, and you're going to click 3, which is send to back. And here's where the concepts start laying onto each other, right? Because now you send to back, but the issue is that your Kindly MD logo has a white background. So you're going to do set transparent color, Alt-5, click on the white in the background, take away the color, and now you're going to crop, Alt-4, this logo, so it's not taking up too much space. And now I want this Kindly MD logo to go back to its original color, because this black and white doesn't really fit with the blue here. So you're going to click on the picture, you're going to click Alt, and for picture format, you're going to click JP. And then color, you're going to click I. And then you're going to go back to its regular color, which is, I think it's this one, right? I have my sunglasses on and a do-rag over my sunglasses, and I have a mask on, so it's kind of hard for me to see, but I'm just going to assume that's the color. So yeah, and after the layout overview, we're going to go into the more complex things. So this is where things start getting fun. It's the basic mechanics and your efficient movements, right? So basically here, what you're going to do is we have this triangle, for example. Your arrow keys, up, down, left, right, is going to be what moves the shape. But for movement, do not use your arrow keys. Always use your mouse, because it's faster, right? But the thing you got to keep in mind is that you can use, the only times where you're using your arrow keys to move a shape is when you're trying to change the size of the shape, right? So here, if you want to change the size of this triangle, you hold your shift and you click your arrow keys, right? So if you click right, it expands. Like hold shift and click right arrow, it expands. Hold shift, click left arrow, you contract it. And the same with top down, right? Top makes it bigger, bottom makes it smaller, right? And if you hold shift with your control, you can make it smaller, but more incrementally, right? Like it changes, it lets you change the shape of your arrow keys slower. I'm struggling to see. So you shift left and right, shift up or down, and you can hold control to sort of like slow down the pace of your movements, right? So like right now, this is a regular shift. You hold control, this is a slower shift. So that's all you need to know here. And then for the alignment of shapes, all right, basically you use your mouse to move things, right? I'm going to copy this shape again so we could free move it all around. So you have this triangle, and let's say I'm like, hey, Ski Mask Bro, I want you to align your triangle to the top of this text box right here. A lot of the times when you first start off by using PowerPoint, you're going to drag your shape and you're going to be like, okay, like where's this red line, right? I'm going to drag it to the red line appears. This is the wrong way to do it, because for like if you're aligning many shapes, like basically what's going to happen is you're going to take every triangle and you're just wasting time trying to like find that red line, right? So what you can do is you can sort of align your various shapes. And the way you do that is you're going to hold your shift, you're going to click on the objects that you're trying to align, which is the text box and the triangle, and you're going to click Alt-H for home, and then you click G for arrange, and then A for align, and then T for top, right? So if I want to align this triangle to the top of this text box, you click T, AT, and align to the top. Same with the bottom, right? Like T for top, B for bottom, L for left, R for right, right? So if you want to align bottom, like that. If you want to align right, like that. If you want to align left, like that, right? And at this point for me, like you can either use your quick access toolbar. So instead of clicking 5 buttons, you can just click 1, right? So you shift both of them. Alt 2. Oh my god. Alt 2, and then align top, T, right? So that's where your quick access comes into play. But for me, like I've gotten pretty used to not using align on the quick access for some reason. So it's like you could also just do Alt H G A B for bottom. And after aligning, there's something that's called sort of like spreading evenly, right? So let's say I take another triangle here. I have 3 triangles now. A lot of times they're like, okay, like I want you to have even spacing between the 3 of the triangles. And if you're new to PowerPoint, what you're going to do is you're going to move this until you see like there's like a little line, right, that shows you that like, okay, like these triangles are equal distant from each other. Instead of doing that, you're going to use your align function, right? The same as the one we've used before, but you're going to do H as in distribute evenly on a horizontal axis, or Y if you're going to distribute evenly on a vertical axis, right? So you're going to hold shift, you're going to click the 3 shapes you're trying to distribute. Let's move this here so that it impacts more dramatic. Hold shift, right? You're going to align them all to the bottom. So Alt H G A B. And then you're going to spread them horizontally, right? So Alt H G A and then H for horizontal. Boom. Or if you want to do vertical, right? You're going to do align them all to the right. And then Alt H G A V for vertical, and then you're aligning these shapes vertically, so now they're equal distant from each other, which saves a lot of time instead of using your mouse. And after that, we're going to talk about shape formatting and coloring, right? So let's say you want to change the color of this triangle right here, right? You're going to click the shape, you're going to do Alt H into your home. All of the shape manipulation stuff are going to be in your home. So for shape, you're going to click SF, shape fill, and whenever you see like something that's not double lettered right here, it just means you got to click them very fast, one after the other. It's not click SF at the same time, it's just click S and F, like very quick, right? So like you're going to do Alt H SF, and then it opens up your color palette. So you're going to make this orange, right? And then afterwards, for shape formatting, like let's say you want to change the size of this triangle. You're going to Alt 8. No. You're going to do Alt JD for shape format. And like I said before, the only thing you're paying attention to is edit your shape. But then you're also going to pay attention to these two, right? Which is shape height and shape width, right? So right now, like a lot of times you can like sort of like move the shape like this, like get your desired shape. But sometimes if you have a triangle that's this size and a triangle that's this size, and they're like, okay, make the orange triangle the same size as the blue triangle, instead of trying to align it and then using this to align the shape, you can just copy the width on each other, right? So like we're gonna match the orange triangle to the shape of the blue triangle. So you're gonna click on the blue, you're gonna do Alt JD, and then the thing that's different between these two is the height, right? So you're gonna click H, you go into your height, you're gonna click Control C, copy, so it's like 1.35, right? And now you're gonna click on the orange triangle, Alt JD, H for height, and then you're gonna do 1.35, or you can just click paste, and boom, right? Like now these two are the same size, height and width wise. And then afterwards you have like a picture format, right? We've already went over that before, but let's say we want to change like the MicroStrategy logo to, let's say, like black and white, right? You're going to do Alt JP, right? Because this is a picture, not a shape. And then you just click black and white, and it becomes like the same color scheme as, let's say, the rest of your presentation if everything else is in black and white. So with that said, we are going to go into the exercise, and we're going to incorporate these other things while we're talking about your exercise, right? You have your drag and select, right? Which is basically, it's a lot of, like, sometimes you have like too many shapes here, right? Like you have like 9 shapes here. Instead of like clicking shift into each one, click on an empty part of your presentation, hold it, and then you can drag, right? And select all of them. And then there's also the select all, right? Which is basically like you hold your shift, like, oh, we've already went over that. So it's like you hold your shift down, you just like click whatever shape, and then like keeps them clicked, right? So if you want to make mass changes throughout your presentation through like several select shapes, you can do that. And then there's also grouping, right? So you basically click, let's say like this text box and this text box, you can Control G, and now effectively they're one shape. Let's undo that. So if you want to ungroup it, you just go Alt H for home, G for group, and then U for ungroup. And then you ungroup it, and now it's back to its original formation. So let's get into the exercise. So for this one, we already did it before, right? Like just move and change the shape, right? So hold shift, click your arrows, let's make it big, let's make it small, let's make it thinner, let's make it wider. And then if you want to make some more precise changes, you hold control at the same time, and now you're just making it a little bit bigger, right? And now the alignment is align 3 to the left, 3 to the top, 3 to the bottom, 3 to the right. All right, so basically the tops are already aligned, right? Now you need the left, right? So the left is going to be this, Alt HGAL, Alt HGAR, and then to the bottom. Oops, this is kind of like a puzzle, right? You have 4 here, you have 3 here, so you want to like do the top. And now we're just going to make this into a square, right? So we're going to make sure everything is horizontally distributed. And one thing I forgot to say is that if you click F4, it repeats your prior action, right? So if your prior action was distribute horizontally, you don't need to do Alt H, GAH again. You can just click F4. So let's just like distribute that horizontally. And then we're going to check if this is vertically distributed. It is already, so this is the square that you're creating. And now this one's the same exercise, right? Basically just match the array on the left, right? So now you have a bunch of these haphazard ones, and you want to make this, basically remake the array that you have here, right? So you're going to take these, you're going to align top, you're going to take these 3, you're going to align middle, align bottom, spread evenly. Oh my god, this is actually pretty hard. This is not an easy exercise. Okay. Align right. Align right. Align right. And now you gotta split them evenly. So Alt H GAH, spread horizontally, and then you're gonna F4 your previous action. So now doesn't look vertical just yet, right? Okay. And now this matches this. And then for the last one, it is the shape and picture formatting, right? So it's basically make the MicroStrategy logo pink and make the square the same size as the squares on the left. So for this, we're going to start with the MicroStrategy logo, right? Right off the bat, right, you see like the issue with the logo is that there's a white background. So we're going to apply what we learned before, which is set transparent color, Alt-5, click on the background. Now it's like this. And then you're going to click on the picture, Alt-JP for picture format, I to open the color, and then you're going to look for pink, right? There's no default pink here, so you're going to click more variations, and then you're going to look for a pink color, which is right here. Ugly, but, you know, like, PowerPoint does what it can to a logo, but ultimately you're pulling this logo off Google Images, so it's like, it's doing the best that it can, but in situations like these, I would probably send to your graphics team and just be like, hey, like change this to pink, because like this is one of those few instances where you like really can't do anything about it because you can't recreate the logo because you don't have the expertise to. And for this square, I want to make the same as this, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the shape that you're trying to mimic. You get to Alt-JD and then W for width, 0.44 copy. You're going to click on new shape, Alt-JD, W for width, paste, enter. Now the widths are the same. Now you're going to make the height. So Alt-JD-H, copy from the original shape, and then Alt-JD-H, paste. And now this is similar to that, and we're done with this exercise. Now on to the next one, which is shape manipulation. Now this is where things are really coming together, and they're getting fun, right? So with this one, before we start on the exercise, we're going to take a shape. We're going to take this triangle right here. I'm going to paste it here so I can mess around with it for you guys. So we already want our shape color, right? So to go over it again, let's click on shape, Alt-H, SF, right? There's a color now, and let's say you want to make it pink like before, right? Boom, your picture's pink. And now for the more complex coloring, right? Sometimes you want to make colors that are not solid, but fluid and better looking and sleeker. So for this one, you actually, in my opinion, you actually got to use your mouse, right? So you're going to click on a shape, you're going to right click, and you're going to click shape format. And it's going to pop up this sort of right side ribbon or whatever you want to call it. And there's going to be various different things here for you to fill out, right? Like this is theoretically the only thing you got to pay attention to. This is sort of just like make your shapes cooler, right? Like this is called effects. So you can add like a shadow effect to it. Right now there's a sort of a shadow outlet. And then this one is just like the size and position. I wouldn't pay too much attention to these. These are like sort of complex. You can learn them on your own, but these two are sort of like the important ones I want to pay attention to. So for this one, right, I'm going to take away the shadow for now. You want to make it gradient. Right, gradient is basically like a flowy color, right? So let me just make it a little bit more drastic. So you can see like when you click gradient fill, this drop down pops up and you have like these arrows, right? Which basically allows you to sort of like fill the shape with one color and have it sort of merge into another color. And yeah, this is basically what you want. And every time you click in, you can add like a new arrow. So you can actually make this like a little bit of a rainbow color. If I want to add some red, you want to add some random purple, right? So effectively, it makes your shape more colorful and I guess cooler by design. And then the next thing we got to learn is sort of making a shape outline. All right, so we've been focusing a lot on fill, but you can also add outlines to your shape, right? If you look really closely to here, there's like a small outline. And to access it, you just go Alt-H, home, and then S out really quick, right? Your shape outline, and that opens it up. So you could change the color of the outline. Like let's say you arrow key to orange, right? Or you can change sort of the width of it, right? So Alt-SOW for width, and you can just make it like a very thick outline. And if you don't want the outline to be like a straight line all the way through and you want it to be dotted, you can go Alt-HSO-I. Oh no, not I, S for dashes, right? And then you can like make it dotted. And then you can sort of like decrease the width a little bit. So now it's like, yeah, like a bunch of small dotted lines around this really cool triangle here. And yeah, I think that's it for shape manipulation. We're going to get into the exercise now. So you guys can see here, right, there's like a key component of a SWOT analysis for Google. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to create it from scratch. We're not going to use anything here besides the Google logo. So we're going to put the logo up here. Pretend this is a slide on some, right? So in order to do that, you're going to go to Home, and you're going to click this A right here for a text box, right? So you're going to copy exactly what it says here, key components of a SWOT analysis. Drag it out. And now you notice that like this one's centered, this one's not. So you're going to do Alt-H, A, C. Right, to like center your text. Because like when you do Alt-H and you click A, it's like there's like a line and stuff. So it's like Alt-H-A-C basically just centers your text. It's the same across Excel and it's the same across Microsoft Word. And then you want to change the font size, right? So Alt-H, font size, FS. And you want to make it, let's say, like 10. Right? Oh, oops. And now you want to bold it, so Control B. And you want to align top. It looks like this one's a bit bigger, so it's actually font size 12. Oh my god. I'm just having a hard time seeing because my sunglasses are getting foggy again. So the title's done, and now what you need, let's size it a little with Shift arrow key to the left. Now you need a triangle, alright? So we're going to see what size this triangle is. This is actually gradient triangle. So let's see what size it is. You're going to do Alt JDW, copy the width. Alt JDW, paste the width. Now copy the height. Alt JDW. Oh, sorry. Alt JDH, copy the height. Alt JDH, paste the height. So this is effectively the shape that you're going for, right? So you're going to align bottom. You're going to send to the back with your quick axis. So it's like this one's going to be 1, 2, 3. So Alt 3, send to back. And then you're going to center this with this shape. So Alt H, GA, and then align center to make sure this is in the center of this. And then if you scroll in, you notice that every shape that PowerPoint gives you, there's like a small outline. So you're going to remove the outline, right? So basically what we're doing on the top here, Alt-H-SO, so shape outline, stands for, SO stands for shape outline, and you're going to click N, right, for no outline. Remove the outline. And now you want to do a gradient fill, right, because this is a gradient triangle. Gradient fill. And it looks like we're kind of matching, but we're not, right? Because there's this weird thing right here. So if you look at this gradient, right, there's a little thing in the middle here. Okay, so I guess it's already matching. It starts white, it goes like light blue, and then it goes back white again, right? So it's like a very sleek sort of thing. So yep. That's good, and then you're going to align this Google to the middle of this gradient. And afterwards, you're going to do some shapes. So you want to match this box with the shape of this box. So Alt JDH copy, Alt JDH paste, with Alt JDW copy, Alt JDW paste. Now you're going to do 4, right? One thing I forgot to mention is that if you click in on a shape, if you hold Control and Shift and you drag the shape, it just automatically copies it, right? So you need 4 boxes here. So we're gonna just do like this, right? And we're just gonna distribute. And then we're gonna group. So Control G to make it one shape. And then we're gonna center everything here on that one shape to make sure that we're ultimately centered on everything, right? So now we're centered. Drag this Google out just a little bit. And then we're going to ungroup this, which is Alt H G for align, and U for ungroup. So now they're back to their individual elements. And we're going to line them on top. And now we're just going to take the colors of each of these, which is the color of the Google logo. And the way that you guys take the color of the Google logo, right, is that PowerPoint actually doesn't give you, right, if you go Alt H SF for shape fill, it doesn't give you like the exact colors, right? Like these colors are just like the recent colors that I've used when creating a presentation. So the colors are here, but like if you haven't done this already, it doesn't pop up. So the way that you guys want to mimic this, the logo, like the color of the Google logo, is you click E, which stands for eyedropper. It pops this pen up, and then the E, basically you click on the G, and it sort of like mimics the color that you're trying to get, right? So Alt H SFE. Now we want the orange. Now we want the green. Alt H SFE. Alt H SFE for the red. And now if you scroll in here, we have the colors, but the difference between these two shapes is that this one has an outline. So you're going to remove all the outline. But all four have an outline. So you're going to hold Shift. You're going to click on all four. Alt H S O N. And then you're going to type it. I got cut off a little bit, but okay, so all your outlines are removed, and now you're going to click here, and you're going to type in each one of those slots, right? So you're going to type in strengths. But the moment you type in strengths, you kind of notice that like the font is really big, right? So you want to change the font to match this one. So this font is font 10, this one is font 18. But before you guys change the font, you guys got to keep in mind and have the foresight that like if this font is off, that means all four of these different fonts are also off. So you're going to click, you're going to hold drag, hit these four, and then change the font size for all of them. Right, so you're not doing it one at a time. So Alt H FS and then 10. And then you're going to bold it, Control B. So now your actions are reflected across each, and you can just type them in easily. Right, so weakness. My mouse is really messing. Weaknesses. Opportunities. And threats. And now we need like these 4 gray arrows. So arrows actually come with the PowerPoint. Is the shape that PowerPoint gives you, right? So you're going to make an arrow, and you're going to make it the same size as this, right? So you're going to be Alt JD W copy. You're going to come here, Alt JD W paste, Alt JD H copy, Alt JD H paste. And now you're going to make it the same color. Give me a second. And to make it the same color, you're going to do Alt H SF. And you can select the second gray here, or you can use an eyedropper. Right? So E, copy the color of that. And then you notice that this one has an outline and this one doesn't. So you're going to Alt H S O N, remove the outline. Right? And now you're going to align top, center it. Right? And then you're going to sort of like hold Shift and Control and then just drag to shape. Right, so center, center, center. And now the next thing you need is you want a rectangle with dotted lines. So you're going to take a rectangle, do like this, and you're going to click this rectangle, and you're going to do the same thing, right? So you notice that like this exercise, a huge portion is just repetition over and over again. So you guys can really get the feel of what's going on, right? Align it here. 1, 2, 3. You're going to do align right. And then F4 to repeat your prior action. And now you see that like there's no fill, right? So Alt H SF, shape fill, N for no fill, but you have the outline. But the issue here is that the outline is also different because the outline is dotted. So you're going to, oops. Sorry, we were here. You're going to drag Alt H S O S for dash. You're going to make it dotted. But then you also notice that like this outline is thicker than what's here. right? So you're going to change the width of the outline. So Alt HSLW, and then you're going to do, I think it's a half. Yeah. And then you're going to align it to the bottom of this so it fits. And you're going to type in like the dot stuff, right? But now you notice that whatever text that you're typing here is white, and you need your text to be aligned to the left and have bullet points. So you're going to select all of these instead of doing them one at a time. You're going to do Alt HFC for font color, make it black. Alt HFC for font size 10. Alt HAL to align left, and then Alt HU to ultimately activate like this little bullet here. Alright, so now everything is going to be structured. Oh no, what is going on? Okay, so everything is going to be structured like that. But I guess like my font size didn't register, so you need font size 10. This is actually a really hard video because my glasses are getting really foggy and I can't see. Like, this is actually one of the hard things about making these videos. It's because like I have a fear of being perceived, and I also like work full time, so it's like I like don't want my identity being found out, and then have like plausible deniability when it does. So it's like I just like need these sunglasses, and like these sunglasses are like very see-through, so I need to wear like a do-rag to like, so I'm looking through a fabric right now. But thank you guys for bearing with me. Appreciate it. But yeah, let's continue. So you have brand, scale, diversified, data. Oh my god. Okay, you guys also see that like the bullet points here have like different spaces relative to the ones here. And the reason for that is because like the spacing is just a little bit different. So you gotta like click on the shape, basically click on all four shapes, and then you're gonna open up the bullet point spacing. So it's basically Alt HKL, right? So when you click Alt H and you click K, that gets you access to like the line sort of spacing options, and you click L. And when you click L, right, there's like a little indentation option here, right, for you to like sort of make the text a little bit closer to the dot. So right now it's like 0.31. Let's say like we want like 0.15 to just reduce the spacing. And now it matches, right? So it's, the strengths of Google is that it has a strong brand, it's highly scaled with like 15 plus different products, it's diversified, there's data advantage, and they have best-in-class talent. Okay, now the next box is, you know, like some weaknesses, that it's functioning in a very competitive market, right? It's, a lot of its revenue is ad spend, so it's highly cyclical, there's execution risk on new products, and then there's speed because the company is like kind of big, right? So it moves a little bit slower because it's no longer so startup. But you know, there's plenty of opportunity here, right? There's like an AI opportunity with Gemini, there's GCP for cloud, you can move down market, right, to like capitalize on mid-market and small businesses. And then you also have like cybersecurity, right? Well, I guess that relates to cloud because like your acquisition of Wiz or whatever. And then what are the threats, right? Like, I think there's AI search from like Perplexity and stuff like that. There's obviously a lot of competitors. There's the economy if it turns sideways. There's not much people spending on ads. And then there's regulation, right? You type that in, and then, you know, you can stop here, but a lot of times like you're missing one more thing, which is basically, so you're just trying to align these to the top, right? So you just enter each one. And now this, we basically rebuilt this. That took a while. That was actually harder than I expected. But yeah, with that said, we're going to move to the second to last slide, which is called isometric shape creations. Right, so here is one of my favorite things, right? A lot of the times in banking, what's going to happen is that your MDs are going to want a very nice and very, I guess, quote unquote, techie slides, right? Especially if you're working in like tech coverage groups. You can't go in with hard shapes and gradient triangles. You need like something that makes things that makes your slide look cool. Right, so there's two things you guys need to master here, right? And one of them is called the merger of shapes, right? So basically, PowerPoint only provides you with these set of shapes, right? So if you can't find a shape here, but you want to make a shape, you could sort of utilize merge and fragment to create the shapes that you need, right? So for example, let's say you want a pair of boobs, right? You know, like these are like overlapping with each other. So what you can do is you can go to shape format, you can go to merge, and you go to intersect. Oops, you can go to union. And now you have like a pair of boobs, or like butt cheeks or whatever. So it's like this is a shape that you otherwise cannot get from PowerPoint. And same with fragmenting, right? So now like you have like this peanut right here, and now you want to break the peanut in half, or you want to break it into 4 pieces, right? So you can take like 4 different rectangles, or break it up to like 1, 2, 3, 4, right? You're gonna put these rectangles here, and then you're gonna highlight all these shapes, and you're gonna go to shape format, which is Alt JD, merge, which is M, and then you're gonna fragment. And what fragment does is that for every contact point in which these shapes are touching each other, you click F and it breaks them up, right? So like now this is an individual shape, this is an individual shape, right? So now like it lets you have like different sort of weird shapes that PowerPoint will not usually provide you with. So super interesting when you're trying to like create like shapes and stuff, and we're gonna see exactly how this will work in real life, right? So for this exercise, we're gonna basically recreate these charts on the left, right? Like key opportunities for Google, maybe to do a MicroStrategy and buy some Bitcoin, you know, fingers crossed, pray. I don't think they're gonna do that, but you know, like let's say your MD's like, okay, we're gonna pitch Google and we're gonna have them pull a MicroStrategy's on strategy. So yeah, so the only 2 things that we're gonna have from outside this presentation is again the Google logo, and then we're gonna have the little image here. And the issue with this image is that you want this image to fit into a shape, right? Which is this half circle. The half circle is actually provided to you, right? Like you click this. This is the half circle that we're going to use, and we're going to mimic the dimensions of this, right? So you're going to click this. You're going to do Alt JD W copy, right? Come back to here, Alt JD W paste. Get the height to Alt JDH copy, Alt JDH paste. And now what we're going to do is you want a portion of this face to fit into this little shape right here, this half circle, right? Doesn't need to be a perfect fit, but just make sure there's no white space. So now the shape is fully inside. You've got a portion of the face, doesn't even be perfect. And now once you got it, you're going to merge it together, right? You're going to intersect it, right? So you're going to click the image on the background first. You're going to hold shift and you're going to click the shape, which means that you want to intersect this image into the shape, right? So once both of these are clicked, you're going to click Alt JD MI intersect, right? And now you're going to end up with a shape like this, which is basically what you have here. You're going to come here, and then the other thing is that you want this to like have like a little white overlay on it, so the Google logo stands out more, right? You can't make this white, so what we're going to do is we're going to create another half circle that's like the same dimensions as this one to go over it and then fill it with transparent color and a gradient overlay, right? And the way you're going to do that is you're going to copy this again, Alt W paste, and then you're going to align bottom, align left, and now you're here. You're going to add an outline, Alt H SO, make the outline a little bit thick, 1.5. I dropper this outline right here. So basically blue. And now for the fill, we're going to exit this out, right? Like, let's say it's not there. You're going to right-click, format shape, gradient fill. And now this gradient is going to fill this color, but the issue is that you can't see the picture behind it, and that's because it's not transparent. And if you look on your ribbon on the right, you see this transparency thing. You can sort of play around with it to make it transparent, right? But then the issue here, let's get rid of one of these, so it's like that. The issue here is that when you're playing with the transparency, right, you can make you can set the transparency for each of these arrows. So if you click here, you set it like this. You click here, you set it like this. And then it kind of looks like that, which is good enough. You drag the logo in here. But the issue is this is now in front of this, so you're going to use your quick access toolbar. You're going to send it to the back. Oops, send it to the back. Send this one behind that one, and now they're both behind the Google logo. Now key opportunities for check what this is. Font size 12, Alt H FS, bold it, and drag into here. And we're going to center it. Alt H AC to center the text. Let's make sure these two are aligned. And then you're going to make the circles, right? Oval. For a circle, what you're going to do is you're just going to come here, 1, 1, right? You're going to have a large circle, and then we're going to use the shift arrow keys, right? So what's going to happen here is that, like, when you arrow key a circle, right? Most of the time when someone wants you to make a circle, you want to make it perfect, right? But if you're arrow keying a circle, it turns it into an oval, right? So it messes it up. But what you can do here, let's set it back at 1, 1. You're going to go to your shape format ribbon on the right side. You're going to click size and properties, and you're going to click lock aspect ratio. And this will basically lock the ratios between the height and the width. So every time you change the height, the width changes proportionally. So now you have a perfect circle. So what is this, right? Like this is 0.42, 0.42. Drag it down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. This circle is going to be matching this one, so you're going to bring it to the left. A little bit like that, because I think this is a little bit down, just given. Wait, let's align this top. Let's align this top. Let's align this top. Let's align this bottom. And now you can notice that, like, these circles are also, they have outlines, and their outlines are matching in color with the Google logo. So click these, remove the fill, or you fill it white. Outline, make it a little bit thick. And then effectively, you're going to change the outline color. So Alt HSO. E for eyedropper. The orange again. You want the green. And you want the red. And now you want like a little ski mask bro logo. I'm going to pick it from here. It's not the little logo. And now you want little boxes that say buy Bitcoin. You want to save here, so Alt JD W, Alt JD W paste, Alt JD H copy, Alt JD H paste. So you guys see, like, this is like structured in like a very repetitive way. So this is like the best way to learn. I feel like if you guys just go through this video and just keep creating the shape over and over again, you can probably be able to tackle everything. So I'm gonna send this to the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Send to back. Send to back. Send to back, right? But you only want this to be behind the circle, but not this. So you're going to send this to back again. You want a gray color, and you want the outline of these once again to match the outline of the Google color. So Alt-H-S-O-E, eyedropper again. But then like the thing with this is that like if you've already used the color before, it will appear in recent colors, right? So Alt-H-S-O, the recent color, green, the Google green, Alt-H-S-O, the Google red, and then buy Bitcoin. Again, your font color is off, so you're gonna hold shift, click all 4 shapes, Alt-H-F-C, make the font color black, Alt-H-F-S, make the font size 10, bold, italicize, and then you can come in here and type buy Bitcoin, paste, paste, paste. It looks like it's font size 8. So the first part of this exercise, group it, you're done. And now the second one is going to be making this pie chart, right? So let's say your MD is like, okay, I don't want this format, I want this format, right? With like the logo in the middle and then a pie chart and an gradient fill into the middle, right? Which is a cooler image, objectively. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the circle again. You're going to do 1, 1, lock aspect ratio. So now you can use your arrow keys to play with it. Hold shift, make it up. I think this is a decent size. A little bit different from this, but it's hard to tell what size this is given. It's been fragmented, so you can just do that. Okay, similar size. And then you summon a rectangle, right? You just make the rectangle very, very thin. And you just put it like this. Center it. Align middle it. And you're gonna click the shapes that you want to do, and then you're gonna Alt JD M and then F fragment. So now you're gonna delete this out. Oops. You're gonna delete these shapes out, and now you have this. And this is where it gets hard, right? Because you're gonna remove the outline because you notice that these have like small outlines. So Alt H S O N, and then you're gonna add a gradient fill to each one. Right, so you're going to click all of these, you're going to gradient, but then you want each of these gradients to be different, right? So this one you want the Google blue, right? So recent color is the blue. This one you want the orange, which is already orange. This one you want the red. And this one you want the green. But for each of these colors, in the middle you want a white, right? So you kind of like want like this thing going on. And then for gradient, you can select the direction. So this one, you want the white from the center going upright, right? So you're going to click this one. Oh, wait. Oh, strange. Okay, well, whatever. You're just going to keep clicking it until it gets you your desired outcome. But one of these diagonal ones will get you. This one needs to be white. And this one needs to be red, right? Like a lighter shade of red. Very annoying, very annoying. Okay. This one you want it to be, you want it to go from white to green. And then you're gonna do top to bottom. Oh my god, there's just something wrong with the directions, but just keep playing around. Okay. Copy the logo. Bring it to the middle. Make it smaller. And then these are individual text boxes. So you're gonna take a text box. Buy Bitcoin. Font size 8. Center it. Bitcoin. 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 And there you go. This is how you guys create nice looking slides. And For the next part of this video, we are going to be going over how to make some real slides from real investor presentations so you can see all of these in action. I'm going to release a part 2. So effectively this video is going to be 2 parts, right? One is going to be the tutorial, and the second one is going to be putting each of these things that we've learned into action, which I will release probably over the weekend or within the month. So you guys could sort of like follow along and see how slides are actually created. But yeah, thanks again guys for tuning in here. I know I've been AWOL for a little while, work's been busy, but tonight, let me see what time it is. Tonight, I actually had some time, it's like 1:45 a.m. right now. Had some time today and just wanted to post a video, and I thought this would be helpful, especially with a lot of first-year analysts coming in. Some of you guys are interns, and you guys are starting. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please comment and subscribe. And if you guys want to see any other videos in the future, comment that as well. I know I've been posting very haphazardly, and it's just, you know, a function of me working probably 60 plus hours a week and trying to balance content creation, which honestly isn't a super priority of mine. I just sort of like creating this and teaching you guys. So if you guys have any ideas, put it below. I swear I'm reading them all. I'm cataloging them all in my mind, and I'm going to get to them. But yeah, and if you guys haven't checked it out yet, I have an Excel tutorial video. You guys can check that out. And then for the more advanced guys who are trying to break into PE from on cycle, I have the LBO model test, an of me modeling an LBO from 2023 and 2024, and I'm probably going to refresh it at the end of the year for 25. So check those out as well, and whatever lifestyle videos that we have on the channel. Thank you guys again for the support, and have a nice night.